Hello everyone, and welcome to a showcase video of a world that I have been playing in lately on my live streams. What you see behind me is the Create mod. Some of you are probably familiar with these contraptions, and I've really been enjoying them playing the Create Together mod pack, which includes the Create mod, obviously, and then a bunch of additional mods to make playing in this world super interesting. As if this mod right here wasn't interesting enough. And if you've never seen this mod before, well, there's a whole bunch of wonderful things that you can do with it. I'm in an elevator right now. That was amazing. So this video isn't going to be an explanation of what all these individual things do inside of the Create mod, so it might be a little bit maddening for you trying to understand everything that's going on. But this mod adds loads of really cool engineering blocks that kind of capture that redstone feel for making contraptions. Like this thing over here. And, you know, I don't actually even know what this does, but I'm told it's a brewery. And that is because I have not made any of the things that you have seen so far. This fantastical windmill off in the distance isn't mine either. My pitiful base is sadly underground, and one of the things that I never got around to doing was creating like a proper entrance. This is it. This is literally how you get into my base. So this video is going to be a base tour where I can show you all the contraptions and things that I've been up to with the Create mod during my time playing on here in my live streams. And first of all, I'm going to introduce you to the philosophy of the pack, which might sound like a strange thing to say, but you'll understand what I'm getting at. The Create mod has been paired with some other mods to make the vanilla grind in the game a lot less grindy. For example, we got storage drawers and we have a terminal to access it, and this stuff did not take a lot to craft. My thinking was that I wanted to take the time out of the Minecraft grind, and so with that we also included some gadgets right here for building to make building nice and easy. And one of these gadgets is great for clearing out blocks, which can also make branch mining super easy as well. So getting resources in this world was not a difficult task, and neither was clearing out a bunch of space, which is why I actually decided to build my base underground. Yes, I figured that if I just had it underground, I could clear out all of the space really quickly with the gadget, and then decorating would be easier. One of the things you're going to notice is that there's not a lot of time and effort put into detail. This is really about learning the contraptions and the Create mod, putting them together, and then having that project look in a reasonably well decorated room. We're going to try and do this tour roughly in the order that I created things. So one of the first projects that I needed was to be able to turn my ores into ingots to craft all the various different things. And sadly, I believe that this project right here is now actually broken because we had some issues later on with pushing blocks around and whatnot. But here's how it works. The items get flung up to the grinding wheels and they will be converted into a different type of ore that can be washed into nuggets, and that produces more and more blocks. So this was early in the game. I was producing power with water wheels individually for different parts. And so, will this work? Come on, come around the corner. Yes. Over here, it will now slowly get washed into nuggets, and those nuggets will eventually make their way around here into this old thing. The mechanical press will turn them into ingots, and then the mechanical arm picks them up and brings them over and drops them off into this chest. In fact, I think the contraption is still working. Or maybe not, because it won't go in there. Like I said, it got broken, okay? Leave me alone. Over here, we have a chest full of bones, and that's because we have a skeleton spawner in our base. Okay, you can't see the particle effects through the glass, but the skeletons spawn. They get pushed all the way over here, and then there's actually... Let's break some blocks. There's actually lava at the end there, and that sets them on fire, and they die on the belt, and so the items are on the belt, and they get carted off into that chest around the corner. And now you can guess why I put my storage area here, right? So I'd be coming over here to pick up items, and that would be activating the skeletons. The funny thing is, though, we never really used much of the bone meal at all. I always think of bone meal as an essential item. Not so much with the Create mod. Also, someone made this for me. I don't know when they did it, but I love it. Thank you. So yeah, I've been playing with my Patreon and supporter community from Twitch. We have a whole bunch of people who play on here regularly when I'm streaming, and this right here, this really cool room, is a big project that we did together. Currently this thing is turned off because sometimes when it runs it creates a little bit of frame rate lag. There are a bunch of cobblestone generators, and again, one of the unique features of this pack to make life kind of easy so you don't have to go out there in the world gathering materials is that you can actually create cobblestone generators, and if they have a different block underneath, then that's the type of block that gets generated above. So behind there are some drills and stuff, and do you know what, we can just switch into spectator mode to see this hard to access stuff. There's just a bunch of mechanical drills pointing at them, right? And then you can see we've got gearboxes and shafts which bring the rotational energy all the way over to each of those, and then back here we've got a water wheel just tucked away powering it all. So yeah, there were like 15 or 16 different types of material, and that's how we decorated our base. We all chipped in, and then people frequently come over here to pick up blocks, which is always a really nice thing to see in the base. Ah yes, over here we've got a mechanical crafter that's hooked up. Let's see if I can show you this in action. So this thing can be pretty essential when you want to craft stuff that's bigger than a 3x3 recipe like you do in a table. And I think the order of operation is that I flick this first to turn the thing on. Oh, and it went straight away. I thought I had to press a button. Anyway, that did some crafting and it put the crushing wheels in there. Behind us we got a nether portal. We might check out what's on the nether side later on in this video. And then we've got like a massive tree farm project in here that sadly didn't quite get finished due to me needing to do some redstone with it. Anyway, I think the thing to show you next is our first tree farm. And I think I can manually activate this if I just power this block. There it goes. And so with this tree farm, I was trying to learn and do things different from how I'd seen other people do it. So I ended up using a gantry shaft which we control with a sequenced gear shift. That's where we sort of program and tell it what to do. This thing though has just given me endless headaches, and sometimes I'm not even sure why it stops working. In theory, it should still be traveling back down to the end here. But if you look at the layout of the contraption, it essentially slides under the farm in this direction, moves up, goes across and chops down all the trees with the mechanical saws, and then behind it, the deployers replant the saplings in its place. As I said though, sadly, it's not working. Okay, here it goes. We'll see it in action a little bit, and it's actually continuing to head down here this time. That's great. And now it's going to plant saplings behind it where the wood used to be. Dang, look at that. Fantastic. And thought it had stopped again. Nope, it's actually gone all the way back to the beginning. They didn't plant down all of the saplings. Yeah, this thing's given me plenty of headaches. And how did we power that contraption? Well, in this game, you can make windmills and you can build them underground in a small room, like we've done right here. This thing just continuously rotates, it creates energy, and that's how we powered this farm here. What is this contraption right here? You might be able to tell that it's a kelp farm, and this one again uses a gantry shaft, but then it's got these things. I forget what they're called though. Anyway, it goes back and forth, picks up the kelp, puts them onto this belt over here. They get shuffled along and they get smelted by a campfire that's got a fan behind it. And then when the right items are on the belt, it will take them down into this chest. And these items are the dried kelp. This one will send them out in bunches of 9, which get crafted just like that. Did you see it? Oh, it's doing it again. Excellent. Oh yeah, it's got plenty of capacity here. You see, it started to back up, but just not at this spot. So yeah, they all get shuffled up the belt. They get crafted. That's amazing. And then I've actually filled up a storage drawer over there with over 2,000 of these. Now the reason they're sitting on this belt while it moves is because there's a filter at the end that doesn't allow them to go into there. If I actually remove this, they fall on the ground. But anyway, this is fuel for Tango's contraption over here, which I kind of copied from his video. You can see that the fuel should be filling that up, but somehow a torch got on there. Anyway, this uses a furnace engine and a flywheel to generate power, and the trick here that Tango showed us was that you can put an item in here to activate the smelting process and then pull it out again, so that item doesn't need to be constantly replenished, and that's why we've got a bunch of redstone directly above it. And then the power, this powers the rest of the projects that you're going to see in this video. Now this is my favourite room and favourite contraption, and I can turn it on But before I do, there's a problem. There's always a problem. Let's see if I can remember. I've got to pick up that cobblestone. Okay, let's turn it on, run over here, because somehow, like, the wrong items make their way onto this belt every time, and then I have to fix it. But right now what it's doing is it's simply splitting up the gravel that is being created over here. So cobblestone drops onto the grinding wheels, gets turned into gravel, gets sent off in two different directions. Now when you put it through the grinding wheels again, it turns into sand, and it also produces other stuff like clay. So the sand goes in one direction, the clay goes in the other. Now it runs over some chutes which will take it off, and then it puts them into these sieves. Now this is where we have a kind of ease of life thing. Again, you can use the sieves to generate all the different types of metals in this pack. And I think that might have been a mistake to put it in, because I believe there are actually ways to do that with the create mod directly, but you can see we've got copper, iron, zinc and gold in plentiful amounts so that we can focus on crafting all the components and making the contraptions. So anyway, on this side, the gravel comes across, goes into the chutes, the deployers activate the sieves, and at the back there you can see there's some water. There's actually fans behind there, and what that does is it washes these items, and eventually they'll get converted into nuggets, which the smart chutes below them will then pick up and dump onto a belt and send it back to our storage system. Also, the room the room here just looks really cool, doesn't it? So behind our wall of drawers we have even more storage space right here, and you can see those items being carted into our storage system. We actually just use a funnel to send it into the drawer controller, and then that knows where to send it around here. And if I go into the back area, you'll see some undecorated spaces that are not too flattering, and then I can travel in this direction. Underneath that room you can see, look, this is where all the items come from. Now before we head up these stairs, I'm reminded of a room that I don't really use so much anymore, and it's all the way back here. And if this room looks a little ugly, the idea here was to just decorate it as quickly as I could. I was like, okay, granite's on the floor, this jasper material on the walls, and then basalt for the ceiling. And so we put all of this together and then lined up a whole bunch of contraptions for different types of processing. So you've got mechanical mixers here. You've got a mechanical mixer with a blaze burner underneath. If I go and grab some of this coal and chuck it into that barrel there, it will get picked up by the mechanical arm and put onto the blaze thing down there to power it, and then you can mix different sorts of things in here. Anyway, further across we've got a mechanical press here and another one there that's configured to do slightly different things. And of course the grinding wheels again, so if I go and chuck this in here, that thing should eventually activate. Kind of looks like it's broken. Don't know why. But yes, this was a processing room, and to be fair, it didn't really get a lot of use. And one that got a bit more use was this smelting array right here. You put items into the chest, and then down below some hoppers take it onto a belt. It goes around the corner, it cooks everything, and goes into our storage. So in this pack, it is indeed possible to pick up mob spawners and bring them around to other parts of the world. And one of my philosophies with creating a contraption is to just kind of get an idea in your head and then give it a go. It's not about maximal efficiency and stuff like that. So I needed to kill blazes for XP. So down here we've got the collection area. You can swing your sword at them and then do some enchanting behind. But then the design, as you can see here, has the walls coming out and then pushing the blazes along. Unfortunately, it is a little bit flawed. Okay, so we got some freshly spawned blazes from the spawner up above, which you can barely see. And this place lights up because the light shines through those blocks that were blocking the wall. And here you can see the contraption uses these things that can extend like pistons, but for a much longer distance. So, let's pop into survival. This block right here, the sequence gear shift, I mentioned it before, but I never showed what it does. You can tell it how long to wait, how long it needs to push out, wait, and then push back in again. And so that causes these things to run when our wireless redstone link activates it. And here is the problem. The contraption is just kind of unreliable. Every now and then it kind of goofs up and you've got to wait for the timer to activate and reset this thing. And also, blazes can quite easily get pushed inside of these blocks, which I did not know before I built this, but like I said, it's all about just building something and learning. Okay, and that's pretty much most of the ground floor here, so let's head up the stairs. This room I really love. It's nice and bright, and wow, Does that look fancy or what? We have a windmill in the middle. This is like a self-generating farm here because it directly attaches to this contraption which goes around in a circle. And yes, it is a wheat farm. Now this block at the end here, it's eventually going to hook up with this one over here, and that allows it to take all of the items that it's currently harvesting. And by the way, you don't need to like replant the seeds or anything. It just picks up the wheat like just there and puts it into this container. It actually misses that one and possibly this one here as well. But anyway, it's then going to drop it off into here and they're going to go onto a belt, right? Now the seeds will make their way around to our storage system, but the wheat is actually going to be fed into a contraption from quark. When I say contraption, I mean that block right there, the feeding trowel. So they go in and they feed and it puts them into love mode, and then they'll make a baby and the baby will actually get pushed around and fall down through the iron bars and then down into a little cooker contraption that activates every minute or so. Keep forgetting that I can just shim-sham into spectator mode, you know. So inside of this, no surprise, there is some lava and then a redstone clock to activate it briefly every now and then. And if they've grown into an adult, it'll cook them and we'll collect their drops which go onto this belt. So that of course made for a great food supply and also a supply of leather which we used to make bookshelves for the blaze farm that you saw. And the idea with this room is that there was going to be a farm on each side. However, over here, it kind of goes where the blaze farm is, so there wasn't really room for anything over there. But on this side, we got a really cool minecart contraption, and I kind of felt like the minecart stuff was a bit overpowered, so I avoided doing things that way. But here, you're going to see a really cool use of it. And there it goes! It's like a machine of death. So yeah, it just comes over here, chops it all down, goes back. Behind the chest at the top is a little contraption to hook it up to, you know, a little storage unit back there. And yeah, really cool stuff. But like I said, I think that's like the only contraption that I built with the minecart. So you've seen pretty much most of my base, which brings us back to this room. It's massive so that jungle trees can grow in here. However, we kind of ran into a fatal flaw, which would have required me to do a bunch of trickery with redstone that I wasn't quite prepared to figure out. But this was something that I saw in Zedaf's video. He decided to put the deployer behind the mechanical saw, and it will actually plant saplings through that space, which allows you to go out, chop down the tree, and then come back again. Now, the issue was that when you put an observer at this height, the sapling isn't going to grow. When you put it at the lower height, it detects too many things, like the tree growing, and then the tree being chopped down, and then the sapling being replanted. I would need to have made some sort of advanced redstone to make that properly work. And when I say advanced, I mean just beyond my ability, because if I could have got that to work, then it would have worked like this, you know? Every time a tree grows, this thing's going to detect it, and then it will get to work. But the issue here is that it's going to detect things twice, and that broke it because it detected the sapling being put down again. It's going to keep doing that. No! Oh dear, what have I done? Now, if I had have gotten this to work, we would have had just some self-sustaining tree farms in this area, constantly chopping down trees and getting wood for us. And so I think it's fitting that I showed you a contraption over at Garth's base that I was really impressed with. Garth is one of the moderators on the server, and he is a master builder also. Very, very slick. And inside of here, the decorating he did with the blocks available in this pack was just wonderful. And again, I talked earlier about how this is a mod pack, not just the create mod. We also have quark in here, which added so many of the really cool textures that you've seen in the various rooms that we've been in. But anyway, oh, I think I closed it the wrong way. Down here, yep, there is a tree farm, and this is interesting. Using the rotational energy of a windmill, it just goes round in a circle. It's kind of hard to show you here. Here we go, yeah, look at this. So your deployers are on the back, putting down the various different types of saplings, and then it just continuously goes in a circle. It gives the trees tons of time and space to grow, and then you get all of the wood sent up when this thing connects, which it's about to do. And there you go, it's shooting away all the items. So I've been streaming this series over on Twitch, and I've been uploading the VODs to my second channel, and there's going to be another episode that's already come out actually over there, like a final world tour where we go and check out all the other things people have been up to. So if you want to see what everyone else was doing on the server, then that is over on the second channel, and we will also come to this place, which I'm going to tell you is amazing. Inside of here, there is a series of rooms that are like little challenges, and they get better and better. So I thought I'd tease you a little bit with what's ahead. You've got like a run and jump and don't get killed in here. Oh, and I just survived. Whew. And then in the next room, belts and drills. And then further along in the contraption, moving platforms to jump from. And it gets better and better. You should definitely go check it out if you like the look of this place. And so I've had an absolute blast with the Create mod, and I've really only scratched the surface of some of the cool things that it can do. So I'm probably going to be hopping back into this world from time to time to keep tinkering around with the Create mod, because it is just so very, very cool. And I'll be doing that in live streams over on Twitch, so be sure to go follow me over there. And I hope you enjoyed this tour video. It was really nice to do something a little different on this channel. So anyway, if you enjoyed it, leave a like. Thanks as always for the support, and I'll see you soon with another one. Bye-bye.